$90,000 pickup trucks are being dumped for just $16,000. And the market is collapsing so fast that most people don't even realize what's happening. If you understand it, you could land the deal of a lifetime. If you don't, you could lose everything you thought you knew about truck values. Right now, as you watch this, luxury pickups that sold for nearly six figures just 2 years ago are being auctioned off like scrap metal. We're not talking about wrecks or high millage beaters. These are barely used. Leather-wrapped panoramic roof premium sound monsters that once symbolized success. Asterisk, meet Mike, a contractor from Texas. He thought he was being smart, waiting for truck prices to cool off before buying. Last week, he found a 2022 Ford F250 King Ranch. Original price, $89,000. Auction start, $16,500. He checked the VIN. Clean title, no accidents, barely 22,000 miles. The window sticker was still in the glove box. It didn't make sense when he arrived at the auction. The lot was eerily quiet. Rows of brand new looking trucks sat untouched, some with plastic still on the seats. That's when Mike realized this wasn't a lucky find. It was a warning. What's happening right now is a complete meltdown of the luxury truck market. Trucks that were once investment-grade status symbols are now financial anchors, dragging owners underwater. Between 2015 and 2023, the average new pickup price jumped from $38,000 to over $61,000, a 60% leap. But average income, it rose only 25%. The math broke in the 1990s. A full-size pickup cost half a family's yearly income. By 2022, it swallowed nearly all of it. Payments doubled. Loans stretched to 7 years. And people were financing dreams they couldn't afford. This collapse wasn't an accident. It was engineered. Detroit's automakers Ford, GM, Ram discovered a gold mine in high-trim luxury trucks. King Ranch, Denali, limited tungsten, they loaded them with chrome, stitched leather, and a false sense of investment value. Behind the scenes, a secret system of dealer cash allocation games and bonus programs kept the money machine running. Sell enough luxury trims and factories would flood dealers with cash, $10,000 or more per truck. Refuse the inventory, and your dealership would lose its next shipment. The result? Lots packed with $90,000 trucks that nobody could actually afford. Until the market froze, then came the crash at Mannheim, Dallas. Auctioneers called out numbers like $15,000, $16,000 for trucks that cost $90,000 new. Rows of F-250s Denali and Rams rolled by with barely a bid. Some didn't sell at all, dealers whispered. This is 2008 all over again. Banks started calling in loans. Inventory that had once been prized became toxic overnight. Each day, those unsold trucks racked up $16 to $18 in interest and insurance. For a dealer holding 20 of them, that's $10,000 a month gone. The memo from lenders was brutal. Liquidate or lose your credit line. And when dealers dumped inventory, the wave hit ordinary Americans. Repo agents are working overtime, scanning driveways for chrome badges that read King Ranch, Denali, or Platinum. These aren't clunkers, they're barely used trucks, some with less than 20,000 miles. Families watch in silence as the symbol of their hard work gets hauled away. A nurse in Missouri, Lisa, still owes $70,000 on her GMC Denali. The dealer offered her $18,000 on trade. A plumber in Florida lost his F-152 theft. Insurance paid just $16,700, leaving him $56,000 in debt. The fine print says actual cash value. That's all they'll pay. The result? Tens of thousands of Americans trapped in negative equity, paying for trucks worth a fraction of their loans, while ordinary people drown in debt. Detroit's executives are silent. They knew what they were building, a profit engine fueled by easy credit and hype. When demand slipped, they didn't slow down. They doubled production. Keep the plants running, the memos said. Move the metal. Don't blink. Ford and GM spent over $10,000 per truck on hidden incentives in 2023 alone. Ram went even higher. And when the bubble burst, they blamed market conditions. The truth, they built it and left everyone else to pay for it. The fallout isn't over. Analysts warn that truck prices could fall another 10% through 2026. Banks are tightening credit, refusing to finance luxury trims. Dealers are panicking, Class action lawsuits are piling up across the country. Repo lots are full. Dealerships are walking away. And Americans who once saw their trucks as investments are realizing they've been sold a dream and left with a nightmare. If you're thinking about buying, be careful. The next 18 months could be a gold mine or a graveyard. Wait too long and the best deals vanish. Buy too soon and your dream truck could lose half its value before your first oil change. Don't let the same system that built this bubble trap you in it. Stay informed. Stay skeptical. And before you even think about signing that dotted line, download my free guide, 17 car brands to avoid in 2025, linked below. Because in this market, knowledge isn't power, it's protection. Meet Mike, a contractor from Texas. He spent his life building homes, and he's been eyeing a new Ford F-250 King Ranch for years. When truck prices exploded in 2022, he held off, waiting for the market to cool down. Last week, scrolling through an online dealer auction, he saw something that made him stop cold. A 2022 Ford F-250 King Ranch, original MSRP $89,000, auction starting bid $16,500. It couldn't be real. He ran the VIN through every database he could find. Clean title, one owner, 22,000 miles, no accidents, no flood damage, no red flags. The listing even showed the original window sticker still in the glove box, a painful reminder of how far things had fallen. Mike drove 3 hours to the auction yard, but when he arrived, something felt off. The lot was silent. Rows of brand new trucks sat motionless under the sun, plastic still clinging to the seats, chrome shining like they'd never been driven. He expected a crowd, bidders, chaos. Instead, it felt like a graveyard. That's when Mike realized this wasn't about one lucky deal. This was a meltdown. For nearly a decade, truck prices have been on an unstoppable climb. Between 2015 and 2023, the average new pickup jumped from $38,000 to over $61,000, a 60% increase, but paychecks didn't follow. Median household income rose only 25%. Adjusted for inflation, it was barely 12%. In the 1990s, a full-size truck cost half of what a typical family earned in a year. By 2022, it was 95%, nearly the entire household income. The math stopped working. Buyers stretched further. Loans got longer. Payments that used to be $400 a month ballooned to $900 even. $1,100. But the automakers didn't slow down. They leaned harder into luxury. Ford, GM, and Ram discovered a cheat code. High-margin luxury trims. King Ranch, Denali, Limited, Tungsten. Rolling status symbols packed with every gadget, badge, and leather stitch imaginable. But behind the curtain, a quiet money game was underway. Factories pushed dealers to take these top trims even if nobody could afford them. The incentive? Secret cash bonuses. $5,000, $10,000, sometimes more. Paid out for every luxury model sold. Refuse the trucks, and you risked losing your next allocation. And in the dealership world, allocation is survival. So the lots filled up. $90,000 trucks, stacked row after row, built not for demand, but for Wall Street's quarterly reports. It worked. Until it didn't. By late 2024, something snapped. Interest rates climbed. Buyers dried up, and those high-end trucks, they stopped moving. At Manheim, Dallas, auctioneers watched $90,000 trucks cross the block for $16,000. Denali's King Ranches, Ram 2500 Limited, barely any bids. Some didn't sell at all. The auction floor went quiet, the sound of denial turning to panic. Dealers huddled in corners, whispering, "If we wait another week, we'll get even less." Banks began calling in loans. Credit lines froze overnight. Dealers faced a choice: sell at a massive loss, or risk losing their entire business. Those who waited got crushed. Each unsold truck cost them $16 to $18 a day in interest and insurance. 20 trucks sitting meant over $10,000 a month. Gone before a single sale. This wasn't just a price correction. It was a financial firestorm. And while the dealers scrambled, the pain trickled down to everyday Americans. Repo agents started working overtime. Across Texas, Florida, and California, tow trucks rolled out before dawn, scanning driveways for chrome badges. King Ranch, Denali, Platinum. These weren't old beaters. These were nearly new trucks, some still under warranty, still shining like they just left the showroom. A nurse in Missouri named Lisa bought her dream, Denali, for $89,000 in 2022. Today, the dealer offers her $18,000 on trade, less than a quarter of what she owes. A plumber in Florida, Marcus, had his $90,000 F-150 Platinum stolen. Insurance paid him just $16,700. The current market value, he still owes $56,000 on the loan. No truck, no coverage. No way out for countless families. This isn't a story about trucks. It's a story about being financially trapped, while ordinary people drown in debt. Detroit's boardrooms are silent, but the fingerprints are everywhere. Ford and GM pumped billions into incentives to keep production lines running. In 2023 alone, they spent over $10,000 per truck just to push inventory out the door. Instead of slowing down when demand softened, they cranked the machines harder, keep the plants running. Move the metal, the memo said. It didn't matter that lots were overflowing. Dealers who refused to play the game lost their allocations. Those who complied were rewarded until the bubble burst and the system turned on them. When the crash came, Detroit blamed the economy. They blamed the banks. They blamed you. $90,000 pickups are being dumped for $16,000. And the market is crashing so fast that if you don't understand what's happening right now, you could either score the deal of a lifetime or lose everything you thought you knew about truck values. Right now, while you're watching this video, luxury pickup trucks that sold for $90,000 just 2 years ago are sitting on auction lots with $16,000 price tags. We're not talking about damaged vehicles or high-mileage beaters. We're talking about nearly new trucks with leather seats, premium sound systems, and all the bells and whistles that used to justify their sky-high prices. Meet Mike, a contractor from Texas who thought he was being smart by waiting for truck prices to drop. Last week, he found a 2022 Ford F-250 King Ranch that originally stickered for $89,000 listed at a dealer auction for $16,500. Mike couldn't believe it was real. But when he showed up to bid, he discovered something that made his blood run cold. Because this isn't just about one truck or one auction. This is about a complete collapse in the luxury truck market that's happening so fast, it's catching everyone. Dealers, banks, and customers completely off guard. The trucks that were supposed to be status symbols and investment-grade vehicles are becoming financial anchors, dragging their owners underwater. But here's the part that should terrify every truck owner in America. If $90,000 trucks are selling for $16,000, what does that mean for every other vehicle on the road? The question isn't whether you can get an incredible deal on a luxury truck, it's whether you'll understand why they're so cheap before you make the biggest financial mistake of your life. Between 2015 and 2023, the price of a new pickup truck exploded from about $38,000 to more than $61,000. That's a 60% jump in less than a decade. For the average American, paychecks didn't even come close to keeping up. Median household income grew just 25% in that same period, barely half the pace of truck prices. When you adjust for inflation, real income growth was barely 12%. In the 1990s, a full-size pickup cost about half of what a typical family earned in a year. By 2022, a new truck ate up nearly all of it, 95% of the median household income. The math stopped working for normal buyers. Payments that averaged $450 a month in 2015 ballooned to $900 or more by 2022. Loan balances shot up with the average auto loan for trucks and SUVs rising from $31,000 to over $47,000. 7-year financing became the rule, not the exception. Automakers leaned hard into luxury. Ford, GM, and Ram pushed out high-trim models like King Ranch, Denali, and Tungsten, each loaded with gadgets and sticker prices north of $85,000. These weren't just work trucks anymore. They were pitched as rolling status symbols, even investment-grade assets. But as prices climbed and wages lagged, more and more Americans found themselves priced out. The American dream of owning a new pickup drifted out of reach for millions. Behind the sticker shock of those $90,000, pickups sat a machine designed to print money for automakers and dealers until the gears locked up. Detroit didn't just raise prices and hope for the best, they built a secret system of cash spiffs allocation games and bonus programs that quietly funneled millions into dealer pockets for moving high-margin trims. Ford, GM, and Ram all played the same game. Dangle extra cash under the table if dealers ordered more King Ranches, Denali's, and limited trucks loaded with every gadget, every badge, every stitch of leather. On paper, the profit margin on these luxury models topped 30%. But that was just the start. Between 2020 and 2023, factory dealer cash bonuses soared to $10,000 or more per truck, stacked on top of rebates and low-interest financing. The catch dealers had to take delivery of more high-end inventory than they could possibly sell. Allocation was the golden ticket. Move enough loaded trucks and you'd get first dibs on the next shipment. The only way to stay in the game when supply was tight, refuse, and the factory would freeze you out, or worse, cut your allocation for the next model year. This wasn't about serving the hardworking buyer. It was about juicing the numbers quarter after quarter while the average family fell further behind. The system was built to keep prices high and inventory moving until the music stopped and those trucks became financial landmines. If you want to know which brands are most likely to leave you holding the bag, download my free guide, 17 car brands to avoid in 2025. Linked in the description, and make sure you subscribe so they don't take you for a ride on your next car. Bye. Mike scrolled through the auction listings late one night, half expecting the same old story. Overpriced trucks, too many miles, nothing worth the hassle. But then, buried between a fleet of white work vans and a handful of battered half-tons, he spotted it. A 2022 Ford F250 King Ranch. Original sticker price, $89,000. Auction start, $16,500. The odometer read just over 22,000 miles. Not a salvage title, not a flood victim, not a base model stripped of features. This was the real deal. Leather seats, panoramic roof, adaptive cruise, the kind of truck that 2 years ago would have drawn a crowd at any Texas dealership. He ran the VIN through every database he could find. Clean history, no accidents, no recalls, no red flags. The auction listing even showed the original window sticker still tucked in the glove box. Mike's heart pounded. It didn't make sense. Trucks like this weren't supposed to be this cheap, not with so few miles, not with every option checked. He called a buddy who worked wholesale. Is this a typo, or are they really dumping these for 16 grand? The answer came back quick. It's real. Dealers are getting desperate. Mike drove 3 hours to the auction, expecting a mob. Instead, the lot was eerily quiet. Rows of unsold trucks stretched as far as he could see. Some still had the plastic on the seats. The King Ranch sat near the back, tires barely scuffed, chrome shining in the sun. He checked the service records. Oil changed on schedule. Nothing out of place. He circled the truck twice, waiting for the catch. There wasn't one just a truck nobody wanted to own, at any price close to what it cost new. Standing there, Mike felt the thrill of possibility and a creeping sense of dread. If this was happening to the King Ranch, what else was about to get dumped? Before the bidding even started, the rules of the game had changed. The market wasn't just soft, it was broken. If you want to make sure you don't get caught in the fallout, download my free guide, 17 car brands to avoid in 2025, linked below. And hit subscribe so you don't get blindsided by the next big crash. Word traveled fast across the auction floor. Dealers clustered in tight circles, voices low, eyes darting from the bidding screens to the endless rows of unsold trucks. The chatter wasn't about finding bargains, it was about survival. Whispers spread. Another dealer had just dumped 6 King Ranches at a loss so deep the bank called the next morning. At Manheim, Dallas, staff watched as late-model Denali, Rams, and F150 Platinums rolled past the block, drawing bids that barely cleared $15,000. Some trucks didn't get a single offer. The air in the room felt heavy, like everyone was waiting for the next shoe to drop. Mike stood off to the side listening. Nobody was talking about profit anymore. The only question was how fast you could get out before the floor plan lender started calling in loans. One dealer muttered, "If you wait another week, you'll get even less." Another, shaking his head, said, "This is 2008 all over again, but worse." The panic wasn't just at the auction. Across the country, group texts and late-night phone calls buzzed with rumors. Dealers dumping entire inventories, lenders demanding cash payouts, floor plan companies threatening to freeze credit lines, trucks that had been the pride of the lot, chrome shining, leather